Welcome to Herbal Product Technology and Regulatory Science, Unit 12, last part, that is a part 5. So, we have already started with the technical and other requirements of a GMP. I will see the GMP guidelines details for factory infrastructure in specific areas like raw material storage and particular lab requirements and particular device requirement, etc. So, raw material storage. Raw material must be stored in a designated raw material store. So, in the image you can see the floor of storage area are marked with the colors. You can use a specific color for storing particular raw material. Like that, it will avoid the contamination inside the raw material. Appropriate containers must or should be selected based on material nature. Protection from dampness and pest is essential in the storage area. Control environment may be required for certain material. For example, some drugs are toxic in nature. Their storage condition should be maintained properly to avoid a toxic and harmful effect on workers. In that case, such drugs need to be stored with the proper labeling and marking. Sometimes such drugs are stored inside the cupboard or closed containers. Subdivision of store ensures proper segregation. Storage conditions prevent and preserve material quality. Category of raw materials. Metallic origin raw materials require special handling. Metallic origins means a raw material which consists of the earth metal, calcium, potassium, sodium, etc. Minerals origin material must be stored separately. Minerals are present in the raw material which is procured from earthen areas. For example, Shilajit, which is procured from rocky areas of Himalayas. During the collection, along with that, the minerals of a rock or adhering soil also get procured in that raw material. Animal source material need hygienic conditions. Some of the raw material is procured from the animal origin. Many of the marine drugs are procured from the animal origin. In such cases, the hygienic conditions need to be maintained while procuring and collecting raw material. Fresh herbs require controlled temperature and humidity. For example, a lemongrass or citronella is procured from the open field. So, when they harvest the field, they collect the grass and they transfer it immediately to the processing area to avoid loss of volatile component from it. Dry herbs and plant parts need moisture protection. We have already understood that how moisture can deteriorate the quality of the herbs. Excipient and extracts must be properly labeled to avoid any contamination. Raw material identification and labeling. Each container must have proper identification label. Now, in the image you can see all the containers are properly labeled so that they can be identified and as and when needed can be processed in the final product. Label should be indicate name and source of the raw material. Status such as under test, approved or rejected must be mentioned. Batch or lot number should be clearly stated. Date of receipt and date of manufacturing must be recorded. Proper labeling ensures traceability of the raw material as well as finished goods. Testing and approval of raw materials. All raw materials must be sampled and tested on a regular basis. Testing may be done in-house or through approved laboratories. Only approved material should be used for the manufacturing so that it will have all the desired qualities. When the raw material is being tested, it needs to be stored in the different area. Rejected material must be stored separately. FIFO principles should be followed. FIFO means first in, first out method. That regulates the flow of a material which is going for analysis. Whichever material is received first will be applied for testing first. With that principle, it will maintain the quality of the raw material. Records of testing and approval must be maintained throughout the expiry of finished product. Packaging material must be stored properly. Packaging material is of a different type. It can be used for the packaging of a raw material, it can be also used for the packaging of a in-process material, and it can be used for finished product. Every material need to be stored separately to avoid the confusion of the workers. These storage areas need to be labeled properly. For example, sometimes the in-process material can be stored in the drums and a finished product also can be stored in the drums, but the drums which are used to store in-process material should be of a different quality, and the drums which are used to store the finished product of a different quality, and that is why they need to be labeled properly. Many times the manufacturer use a strategy of having a different colored coding system to store such material. Bottle, jars and capsules should be clean and dry. Adequate space must be provided for packaging material storage. Clean containers prevent the contamination of the stored material. Inspection before use such packaging material is essential, and records of packaging material should be maintained. Finished good must be stored in a quarantine area. Quarantine area is a marked area where the finished goods are stored before they are getting released for the market. The release time is decided by the approval by quality check. Hence, till they get the quality check approval, they are marked inside the quarantine area. This area should be guided with a closed door, and they should have a restricted or permitted entries inside the area. Products are released only after quality verification. Approved goods are transferred to designated areas and then they are distributed in different locations. Proper labeling ensures identification of such goods. Storage condition must be controlled. For example, a particular finished product need a refrigeration condition, then the quarantine area should have refrigeration facility. Records of movement must be maintained and should be documented for the further use. Working space in manufacturing area. Adequate space must be provided for all the operations. Now, in herbal industry, the many unit operations being carried for the finished product. Now, every unit operation need to be carried in different areas to avoid contamination. Sometimes two different products are being produced at a simultaneously. Their contamination chances are very frequent. Equipment should be placed systematically to avoid such contaminations. Easy movement of worker should be ensured to avoid accidents. Risk of mix-up must be minimized. Cross contamination should be prevented by giving adequate area, and organized layout improve efficiency of the production. In the manufacturing area, every area should have a proper outlet of production line, so that workers and co-workers will have the knowledge of exit and entry points. Machinery and equipments. To carry out the procedures and unit operations require different equipments and instruments. All those equipment and instruments should be kept in a particular area, and this area need to be marked or lined properly to avoid the contaminations. Suitable machinery must be provided based on the production scale. For example, of capsule production, the capsule filling machine, either manual or automatic, should be available inside the premises. Equipment may be manual or semi-automatic or fully automatic. Machines for grinding, boiling, drying and packing are required for every formulations. Adequate space between machines is essential to avoid accidents. A proper area should be left devoid of a machine area to have a proper movement of a worker inside the cabin. Well maintained machine ensures consistent quality and safety of the workers. SOPs for cleaning and maintenance must be followed in those areas. Now, this slide will give you an idea of what are the minimum requirement of area for the particular operations. Now, here we can see the Ayurveda Siddha will have common area requirement and Unani will have separate requirement as per the schedule T. Because Ayurveda and Siddha have made procedure similar, their area requirements also same. Minimum 1200 square feet area is required for Ayurvedic or Siddha facility. Now, in that 1200 square feet, the area need to be marked as follow. The churna or kwath manufacturing area need 200 square feet space. In that, grinder, pulverizer, mixer and sieves will be situated. Like that, pills and vati require 100 square feet area where ball mill, mass mixer and pill cutter is required. Tablets again require 100 square feet. Kajal production require 100 square feet. Kajal preparation or anjan preparation cannot be produced in a same premises where tablet or pills are getting formed. A simple reason behind that is the kajal is a colored preparation. It requires sooting, and soot whenever get formed, it is can be transferred from one location to another and can contaminate other formulation. That is why the kajal or anjan preparation are done in a separate building or separate floor than other preparations. Similarly, capsule, ointment and asavas need a minimum requirement of 100 square feet. These are the tools requirement as per the guidelines. Now we will move towards the Unani system. In Unani system, the hub, that is a tablet, required 100 square feet area. Safuf, that is a powder, required 200 square feet area. Rogan, that is a oily preparation, required 100 square feet area. Then marham or zimad need 100 square feet area, and kurs or a tablet again will require 100 square feet area. Capsule preparations are as such not a part of a Unani system, but in a proprietary Unani system the capsules being used. These are the similar equipment as used in the Ayurveda and Siddha can be used here as well. These equipment listed as per the GMP guidelines of Schedule T. Health and hygiene of our workers. Workers must be free from contagious diseases because many of the formulations are either in a powder form or in a liquid oral form. They can be easily get contaminated with this microbial contamination. Clean uniform suitable for work must be worn. Every facility should provide a proper uniform to the workers. Now, in this image you can see that the workers are wearing a uniform which is a proper, which is covering their upper body. Whenever they are needed, they also can use gloves and headgear, and many times they also use mask when they are working inside the powder area. Protective coverings for hand, feet and head are required. Personal hygiene facilities must be provided like sanitizers and soap for washing hand and face. Separate lavatories for men and women are mandatory as per the Factory Act. Changing room should be available at the beginning of the manufacturing area as well as at the exit of the manufacturing area. Medical services for workers. First aid facility must be available. Medical examination at the time of employment is required. As per the Factory Act, wherever there are particular number of workers are working, the regular health checkup is mandatory. Annual health checkups must be conducted. Focus should be on detection of infection and not on the habitual disorders. Medical records must be maintained for all the workers, and healthy workers ensure safe manufacturing. Batch manufacturing record. A BMR must be maintained for every batch. Record include raw material and quantities used for preparation of particular batch. In-process tests such as taste and color must be recorded in the BMR. Records must be signed by production and QC personnel as designated. Transfer to finished goods store should be documented in this BMR. Proper record ensure traceability and accountability of the production. Distribution record. Sale and distribution record must be maintained for all the batches and all the products. Where the product is distributed, at which location, by which distributor, what line of a distribution use, what mode of distribution use, all need to be maintained in this record. Records help in prompt product recall if needed. Records should be kept until expiry date of the product. Certain medicines require records up to 5 years. Proper documentation supports regulatory compliance and traceability enhances consumer safety. Market complaints and adverse reaction. Nowadays, market complaints also arises with the herbal drugs, and with the scenario of pharmacovigilance, adverse drug reaction reporting is also frequent. The register for market complaint must be maintained by the manufacturer as well as by the channel of distribution. All complaints should be investigated thoroughly. Corrective action must be recorded for those complaints. Complaint must be reported to the licensing authority as well as to the manufacturer. Adverse reaction should be recorded separately. The separate order need to be followed to record a adverse reaction or adverse events. Continuous monitoring improves product safety and trust. Quality control. Quality control facilities must be provided inside the premises. Sometimes some of the facilities are outsourced. In that case, the address of a facility must be mentioned in the BMR and other documents. Testing should follow pharmacopoeia standard. If the pharmacopoeia standards are not available, then the tailor-made standards and specification can be obtained by the experimental procedures. QC verifies raw materials in process and finished products. Separate QC personnel are preferable, and records of test must be maintained in a proper documentation. QC ensures product consistency and safety. Minimum area of 150 square feet is required devoid of a production area. So, as we have seen, 1200 square feet area is needed for the production. Apart from that, 150 square feet area is required for the QC check. Reference books and sample must be available inside the QC area. Control samples of a finished product must be retained for the further use. Storage condition must be monitored during the QC check. Shelf life studies must be recorded. Stability studies and their requirement need to be followed as per the guidelines. Specification for proprietary medicines must be defined and need to be documented. Expert in Ayurveda, Siddha and Unani is mandatory in the QC lab. A person holding degree in Ayurveda, Siddha and Unani is essential in a testing QC lab. A qualified chemist must be appointed along with the expert. A botanist or pharmacognosist is required wherever is applicable. External approved laboratories may be used for specific testing procedures. For example, volatile oil need to be evaluated by gas chromatography. Every facility may not have a gas chromatography instrument. In such case, it can be outsourced to the other facility. Qualified staff ensures specific quality assurance and enforcement. Precautions against contamination and mix-up. Manufacturing should be done in isolated block or cabins. In those cabins, a pressure differential must be maintained to avoid entry of any dust particles. Exhaust and laminar airflow systems are required. UV lamp need to be maintained for disinfection. Filled containers must be inspected visually. Yield verification and process control is mandatory in manufacturing premises. With this, we have done with the unit 12. In this, we have seen a GMP guideline for ASU medicine and the requirement as per those guidelines. I hope you have understood all the requirements and the rules of the GMP put forth by the Schedule T. Thank you.